Welcome on in to Blues Central Postgame. Jacob Stanoch, Luke Slabaugh with you here on this Saturday night, November the 1st. The Blues losing streak goes from 6-7. My goodness. 3-2. Lost at the hands of the Columbus Blue Jackets down in Ohio. Jacob, my main takeaway first and foremost, unremarkable. Not an embarrassing loss. Certainly some positives to take away. It's that middle 30, the middle half hour of this game, unremarkable. And with 15% of the season over, to not see that firepower on the forecheck in that middle 30 minutes of the game uh, lends itself to the holiday of Halloween. It's a bit scary. What do you think?
I mean, yeah, I'm not happy. I'm gonna start out with that. Every single person in this chat, straight up, I think is just gonna be roasting us quite a bit, considering the trajectory of the Blues right now. That being said, it didn't look good. The only real kind of, I guess, light spot of the game to me was the end where they fought back and strung together about dang near 15 shots in the last 5 minutes. That being said, they're not shooting well. And I think that's part of what's being shown right here. Obviously, the Bukestad one that was set up well, but it's really kind of shown that throughout the season they cannot shoot within, if they're getting covered. They almost need perfect lanes for God knows why. And but the one thing I've said consistently is that they need consistency, and they have not got that. And today, it's again a full period where they start off. I mean, they had a good first, and then the second period just gross, and then third period, I mean, bad, and then eventually they're like, "Hey, we finally showed up." And I think they said it perfectly in the broadcast. It was Steve Ott and all of them were probably wondering, like, hey, where the hell was this earlier? Simple as that. And they've got all that fight, but they didn't have it for 60 minutes, and that's what happened here again. And I mean, I'm surprised they didn't get outshot, because after that second period, it was looking really rough. And beginning of the game, looking the same as well. So, I mean, I'm just straight up like, yeah, there was positives, but still, I'm not happy with the result. I can take the positives away. I can take away, at least Tucker got into a fight trying to fire at the boys. There was fight back, and I think that's what a lot of people don't realize, is that it's not just about wins and losses, but at the same time it is. And I think right now I'm going to pick apart parts of this game, but in the grand scheme of things, I'm still not happy with this team, because they're not putting everything together. Because you don't want to pick apart parts of the games. You want to grab a whole game and say that's a good game, and they didn't have that tonight.
Didn't have a complete game, but you know who's got a complete game 24/7, round the clock? Our friends at Home Bank. Who is Home Bank? Well, they're the team behind our team, our business banking partners. From business lending to everyday banking, Home Bank has been with us since day one, since the puck dropped. Business ain't about just numbers, it's about relationships. And with Home Bank, those relationships make all the difference. Home Bank is the team behind our team at STL Sports Central. Visit myhomebank.bank or call 855-577-2001. Home Bank, member FDIC. More than a bank, they're your business partner. It's Home Bank. One of the areas of concern heading into this game, Jacob, was the play of Joel Hofer, whether it was a confidence thing, a cadence thing, a 581 goals against average. And he played what I would consider to be his most complete game of the season tonight, facing 35 shots, stopping 32 of them. But the first and third goal by Columbus, I mean, I would not blame on him. One, that a questionable call against Nathan Walker there early on in the third period that led to the power play goal. And the first one, just a second chance that deflected off of Justin Falk's skate there in front of the net. I thought the Blues coverage there in the defensive zone was good, but just a bad break for him. What was your takeaway on Joel Hofer?
I think tonight it was, I mean, I don't think, in terms of the strides that he's taken, I think he's out of his head. He looked like a competent goaltender tonight, and that's the biggest positive I can take away from that. And I think Samuel Howell looked at it. He didn't look lost tonight, and I think that perfectly wraps it up. I think there was a couple mistakes that almost cost him. But I think the confidence, I don't know if it's fully back, but I certainly would say after tonight, it definitely is. Confidence wasn't there right at the start, but it sure as hell showed up at the end of the game. And I think I'm not going to say anything yet because, first of all, goaltenders are weird. But I think I liked seeing it again. It was definitely a breath of fresh air knowing that, okay, Hofer's not going to make, he could start making the mistakes, but seeing that at least like when things happen or, he's able to get out of these funks, he's able to get back into his game. And we saw that tonight. I think it could have been a little bit better. But other than that, again, I thought he had a really good game today. It wasn't quite the Joel Hofer masterclass we've seen, but it's a step in the right direction.
Right. Ray Beiersdorf commenting here live on YouTube. Blues are so close to writing the ship, I believe was the word.
Yes.
Shop, the spoken in context. How much would you agree on that? This is a lit chat tonight, guys. I appreciate everyone here. But in your opinion, now that we're 15% of the way through the season, and to Ace's comment earlier, it's something different every night. You've been asking for consistency. Where does this team land right now on your radar in terms of getting things back on course amidst a 7-game losing streak?
To be honest, no idea, because it is all over the place. And with an inconsistent team, I'm not going to say anything else until I see a consistent game. Obviously it's showing the pieces are there. Tonight definitely was getting there, but again, I've seen a lot of hockey teams where they have all the pieces, they can get 30 shots a game, they can do this and this and this, and they're still losing games. So they need to they need to work together consistently. And when that happens, that's when it'll be, again, like I think it's a perfect way to put it. It's like the pieces are there. They're very close to it. The problem is that you can have so many of these pieces. In all reality, that's only about 25% of what you get. The other 75% is how to piece everything together and work together. So when they can all come together and work fully as a team, not even just on the lines or as goaltenders, whatever it is, they play 4 full lines and 3 full D pairs as a full team and piece all these pieces together. Simple as that.
Yeah. Ralph Jenkins commenting here live on YouTube. Y'all's optimism is scary. I have a counter for this, but the Blues are almost out of the division race and we just hit November. The Western Conference is a lot different than the East. Out East, the worst team with 11 points is only about 3.5 games removed from the best team. Whereas in the West, like the Blues are in dire need of points. In a way, Jacob, this almost reminds me 3 years ago, Berube's last go around with the team. And you could kind of feel the slip. There might have been, I think it was a 6-game skid early on there. A lot of those games coming at home and taking the elevator down from the press box down to the the bowels of Enterprise Center, just the fuming from Doug Armstrong there in that big metallic chamber. This doesn't, it feels like that almost in a way. However, you do have reasons behind it. You're missing Jake Neighbors and Robert Thomas, who have been, essential to the forecheck. And now this is crazy, though, that the team is in dire need of points. Corey Land also commenting, St. Louis sports right now, kind of depressing. Feels like a cave with no light at the end of the tunnel for all parties involved. And I would also opine, like it's not like no one's terrible, but there's an unremarkability. The team desperately needs points. Just in terms of this overall skid, I'm struggling to find the words. I'm struggling to find the essential moment of the game where it felt like Blues hockey.
Yeah, it's so hard to reach back and find the definition of Blues hockey right now. That being said, and I think a lot of people are going on it right now, is that obviously it gets to a point where you got to stop making excuses, because in reality, there's a difference between missing 2 players and missing 8 players. The Canucks were missing 8 guys, and we still lost to them. So again, But I mean, like you said, I mean, there's no. It feels like right now this season, Blues hockey is not winning games even when they could. That that's the rough part about it. Usually, Blues hockey is a whole bunch of team or a single team with four strong lines with depth that work together, whether they win or lose or not. But this year, what we've seen so far is two lines that consistently play, two more lines that seem to be all over the place. Maybe might put a point or maybe put a goal together on a fluke play, whatever it is. Defense just seems to, I mean, defense obviously is a good thing when they're not noticeable because that means they're doing the right stuff. But even then, there's still a mix between either they're not making any plays whatsoever defensively or they're letting too much in and they're just allowing weak goals. And this is far from what I think Blues hockey is supposed to be. That deep four lines, gritty, yet still like I don't think Blues have ever been a skill team. They've never really had that skill guy. I mean, you don't have guys that walk through. I mean, I think they always have. It seemed to be every single line almost had a really strong center, two wings that can just fly all over the place, can snipe, maybe walk a guy, pass really well. And it's just been absent this season. And the bad thing is when Blues have always had a fourth line that's just grit on grit on grit. And we might still have that, but your fourth line isn't going to do much against everyone else's skill players that are getting paid $10 million.
Makes a lot of sense. You know, there were some moments from Nathan Walker, and I've seen him out of the last game that they won against Dallas. There were good plays on both ends of the ice from Nathan Walker, Toropchenko, good in front of the net. But I would agree that that's a good takeaway there on the fourth line. This third period, the Blues did outshoot the Blue Jackets 17-9. And you mentioned earlier you were surprised that they outshot the Blue Jackets. That's part of the reason why. First time giving up more than 30 shots on goals, the Blues this year. However, you could call this the Nick Bjugstad period, particularly his goal there with 10 minutes left in the game. Blues are down 3-1. Buchnevich on a 2-on-1 picked off by Boone Jenner. Bjugstad recovers and scores, able to cut that into a 1-goal deficit. The next play off the faceoff, you get an interference call. The Blues were dealing there. It seemed like all the momentum was headed their way. In terms of that play, what was your takeaway from Bjugstad's play in the third period and early on tonight?
I mean, Bjugstad stepped up really well tonight, I thought. And just that last goal, he's been really reached for. I like Bjugstad as a player. Not a lot of people are on the Bjugstad wagon, but I think he's a really good player. Obviously, he's a Minnesota kid, so I like him just a little bit more. But, it's just him stepping up there and getting some bigger shift moments than a lot of some of the other guys, and then stepping up and burying that goal later on. It was huge, to say the least. And I thought he played really well as a center. Dvorsky played really well tonight as well, despite not getting on the score sheet again. But he did really well in the draws, and that was kind of the one thing the Blues really need right now is a lot of guys in the draws. So, but overall, again, we're seeing a lot of guys. This is the one positive I'm going to take away from it too, from these few games. A lot of the new guys are stepping up. And I think that's a big spot right now, especially for a lot of the lower guys. And second one, Matthew Joseph, his second year here, he's stepping up really well. But Pius Suter, he's slowly getting there and being a lot more noticeable in the play. Bjugstad, of course, like you said, just really kind of bringing the extra energy from that last line. And just overall the rest of the team stepping up, and especially for that third line. That was huge to bring that in because they have had some struggles, to say the least. And getting that goal tonight, it's a move in the right direction.
A move in the right direction. Nick Bjugstad's goal, 33-year-old forward, his third of the season. That is our home bank money moment of the game. We told you about home bank earlier in the show. It's brought to you by Home Bank, this money moment of the game. They're the team behind our team at STL Sports Central. Visit myhomebank.bank or call 855-577-2001. Missouri, it's time. Get ready. DraftKings is coming to the Show Me State. New Missouri customers can download the DraftKings Sportsbook app today, and when they go live, you can place a $5 bet to unlock $300 in bonus bets. Starting November 17, you can create your DraftKings Sportsbook account in Missouri and get ready for launch day on December 1. DK Sportsbook brings everything you need to elevate your game day, including live in-game betting, lightning fast payouts, and endless ways to get in on the action, all right from your phone. And when they officially go live in the great state of Missouri, you'll be betting with the Sportsbook app trusted by millions. Safe, secure, and with fast money withdrawals. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and grab $300 in bonus bets with just a $5 bet when they go live December 1. In partnership with DraftKings Sportsbook, the crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 and over. Physically present in Missouri. Eligibility restrictions apply. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. Excludes customers who redeem pre-launch sign-up offer. Terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/promos.
I am so glad I don't have to read that disclaimer ever again. The Blues carry on. 7-game losing streak. All hope is not lost. We have this show. The show will carry on. They get ready to do battle with the Edmonton Oilers, the Stanley Cup runner-ups from a season ago. 7:30 face-off time on Monday. Robert Thomas's status is questionable. Have not checked in on the post-game comments from Jim Montgomery and co. However, what's it going to take, Jacob Stanoch, to get this wagon back on the track?
A lot still. And I think the one problem is it doesn't seem like a lot of teams try and just focus on their own game, and not a lot. I don't feel like they're really doing that much this season. They just need to focus on themselves, better themselves. Don't worry about the next team coming up. Every game's just a single game. So it's going to take a lot, to say the least. Obviously, you're going to have a big line up top for the Oilers. McDavid, Draisaitl, all those guys. Talk about them all week. But I think simple as this, they just got to play what they think is their game, work on it, and don't even think about who you're playing against. It's just another hockey team across on the other bench. It's just play your game. We know that they can play right. We know that they can play really good. We've seen it through spots in the season. We saw it early on in the year after the rough loss at home, their games against Vancouver and Calgary on the road. Problem is, after that, they got another tough loss to the Blackhawks. And after that, it just seemed like everything's just gone down the road and it had just been thrown away. So I think they just need to stop worrying about everything else and worry about themselves, play their own game from what they know they can play, and just make things simple. Simple as that.
Make things simple. The final comments there on the FanDuel Sports Network broadcast. They're doing the radio simulcast this year with Chris Kerber and Joey Vitale. And I did pick up on this. This is a good comment from Ikta here on YouTube. Chris Kerber calling this a moral victory. Really did not butter my biscuit. Tired of St. Louis announcers defending terrible teams. Jury's still out on the horrificness, if that's even a word, of the Blues team. However, it will fall on deaf ears, just given the trajectory of this franchise. Really had to scramble back last season. Montgomery coming in and then finally, scraping into the playoffs, getting to Winnipeg near that last game. And last year is last year, but it's, they're looking for something spectacular here, Jacob. And I don't see a whole lot special on this team. Injuries notwithstanding. You're looking at role-playing guys that are being forced to step up into situations that they might not be ready for. Do you agree or disagree with that?
I mean, I agree and disagree in the sense that, yeah, they're not ready for it, but at the same time, they should be able to step up. Simple as that. And I'm just going to state this now. People talk about how the media is just constantly talking about how, moral victories aren't hard enough about the team. Well, when you're covering a team in a local media, you're going to talk about the bad things. But for a lot of those guys, especially like Curbs and Joey, their job is to stay positive about the team. That's what they're supposed to do. They don't want to. I mean, they know what's wrong, but the whole point of covering a team on a local network is to continue to keep it positive, so that way people tune in. In all reality, yes, they're playing bad right now. We're talking about it right now. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. They're bad. They've blown leads. They've been outshot terribly, given up 8 goals. I mean, everything's going wrong. But I'm not going to sit here and defend it either. But at the same time, that's just part of the job, is to stay positive. That being said, going back to your point, Luke, you need to have hockey players that the mentality is that every single shift is deserving to be a first line shift, no matter who they are, where they are. So saying guys that are, especially obviously you expect Nathan Walker to not be in that position. You don't think Nathan Walker is going to be your top line winger, nor Oscar Sundqvist, rest of those guys. But you should have wingers that are willing to step up off of the third line and into the third line if possible. We've seen it with Jimmy Snuggerud. And again, there's a lot of guys that seem to just be lost in their spot. And yes, you're getting more moments. Yes, you're getting more minutes. That should be a good thing. You should be ready to do it. And I think it's a bizarre statement personally to say that, it's because he's a third liner and he's up on the first line this week or this game. That's why he did bad. It's like, no, he should be able to play any line he's on. Simple as that.
Simple as that. The Blues fall to 3-7-2. Their 8 points are the second least in the National Hockey League, just behind the Calgary Flames. Final thoughts as we wrap up this 3-2 loss to the Columbus Blue Jackets. Excuse me, and Dia de los Muertos. Just wrap up this Halloween weekend and get the scaries out of here.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, it's really hard to think of a way to what to say. I mean, obviously I'm not the guy making the decisions. I'm not in there mentally. I'm not in the locker room during the speeches before games, the decisions being made. And at the same time, I'm not an NHL player. So I don't know exactly what they need to fix. I mean, from what I've seen, the biggest thing I can say is just you got to try and be consistent and work your ass off every single shift. And it doesn't seem like it's being there. So that being said, I don't get paid $8 million a year to center an NHL team. So, I'm going to put it behind all of them. And simply put, when you're at this point of the season and you have a 7-game losing streak, the best way you can say it is, what do you need to fix moving forward? Damn near everything.
Everything is on the docket. The Blues hit the ice again Monday, face off against the Edmonton Oilers at 7:30. He's Jacob Stanoch. I'm Luke Slabaugh. This has been Blue Central Postgame. Final score, Columbus Blue Jackets 3, the St. Louis Blues 2. Good night. Stay safe, and we'll see you back here next time. This has been Blue Central Postgame. Good night.